All right, welcome. My name is Kirsten Foss. I'm the owner of Refreshed Businesses, Coaching and Consulting. And today I am interviewing Tazeem Jamal. Tazeem is an esthetician. She's been an esthetician for 25 years. Or no, sorry, almost 27 years, right, Tazeem?
Almost 29 years, actually.
Almost 29 years, okay. And 21 years, was it 21 years as a spa owner? And you're currently have a solo business now, but you've had a bigger team and, staff, big spa, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
So today, the reason why I wanted to bring Tazeem here and interview her for you guys is because she is a retail sales catalyst. And we all know that in this business, really the only way to leverage the money that we want to make is by retail sales. And so let's talk about retail sales. Thanks for joining me, Tazeem, and talking about making money on retail.
Yes, it's definitely one of my passions. Thank you for having me, Kirsten.
You're very welcome. So the first question I want to ask you, and maybe I'll back it up a little bit, because you describe what you do or what you teach people is talking about like a visual story. In regards to retail. So can you explain what a visual story in regards to retail is?
Yeah, for sure. I think that one of the things that we really need to establish as business owners, whether you're involved as a practitioner or otherwise, is really creating a signature look for your business. So that really becomes part of your brand and your story, your visual story. And I think that, it's been proven that when a consumer has been into your place of business, even only once or twice, they anticipate to see something different the next time they come to see you. So part of what we can do is to create the excitement, is to have a visual story that's evolving all the time, but to have signature pieces that people always start to connect with your business, whether they're there or they're not. So I always give the example, one of my favorite examples is, of course, the Tiffany bag. Think about the turquoise color that Tiffany represents globally. People know they see that color, that robin egg blue color, whether it's, in a blanket or in a sheet of paper or even like a jelly bean, they think of Tiffany's. Yeah. And so that's what we need to start to do as a business. Doesn't matter how big or small you are. Find a signature color. In particular, I think color really speaks massive stories, and use that, weave that into every aspect of your business, your decor, your materials, whether that's physical materials, your branding online through your social media. Attach it to everything that you do and make your visual story impactful. Mm-hmm. And even if you've only got a small retail space, I really believe you can have a beautiful story that people will remember, right?
Absolutely. Well, I think that as far as speaking to the size of a business, it really doesn't, I don't think it matters how big or small you are. I think it's how you made things look. And I think that what that does to the consumer is it's really part of that proof that you are serious about your business.
Exactly.
So when you're talking about, in specific, about colors, is it the most logical to take the colors that are part of your current, like your logo and your current branding, and just kind of make sure that you understand that is part of your visual storytelling?
Yeah, I think it's important if you're new, then hopefully you've already established some of those real core key concepts. Now, if you've been in business a long time, don't be afraid to rebrand yourself. It's okay to move away from colors that you used to have, because remember, colors need to be updated, kind of like our fashion. It's a statement. And if you've been in business as long as I have, I know I started out with, like, my signature color is purple. So I would have purple in everything. I used to send out a physical newsletter to my clients in the mail when we used to do all of that. And it used to be a shade of lavender, so people would know immediately when they opened it that it was from me, right? And so, but it used to be peach and purple. I've now moved away from the peach, which, was like kind of an old 80s color. And, I'm using, like purple and dark green, like a beautiful kind of like a leaf green. And so I think you do need to update your story, but definitely use those colors and take them and weave them into everything that you do.
Cool. So now that we understand kind of what a visual story is in regards to your retail, maybe you can let us know like a little bit more about, kind of a little bit deeper about why it is so important to have that visual storytelling through your branding like that.
Yeah. I think that when you when people come to see you in our industry, hopefully, whether you're doing hair or skincare or nails, we're seeing our clients regularly. We're seeing them consistently. And I think that part of what allows people to want to come back to see us is the excitement. I mean, we're giving people a feeling when they come to see us. They're leaving the world behind when they close that door and come into your space. And so that needs to nurture what it is that we're providing for our clients. Mm-hmm. So think about the colors you're using. I mean, if you're in a hair salon, red and gray and black is fine. Mm-hmm. But if you have a space where you've got a spa area, make sure that that color doesn't probably follow through. Mm-hmm. So you've got to think about your whole plan. How big is your space? Do you cater to, the nails? Do you do the hair? Do you do the massage? Do you do, skincare? Do you do everything? If you do, you need to really look at your business from a global perspective and look at, if I choose red, is that going to work with every area of my business? Mm-hmm. Right? And so choose a color that's going to work. And sometimes we're better off using a neutral palette in our business and then choosing one color that becomes a signature color. And you can change that tone. And it doesn't have to be visually bright, like mine is purple, but there are times when I'm using a lavender that's still in the same color scheme, but mm-hmm. you can change it and modify it so that it's maybe a hint of color mm-hmm. in different places. Right?
So what do you like, maybe if you can kind of talk us through what it actually looks like for your retail sales? Like, are you talking about using these colors and the visual storytelling in the retail display, or is it multi-leveled? Like it's the retail display, it's the newsletter that goes out, it's the blah, 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 like it's all layered.
It's everywhere, exactly. So for example, when a client comes to see you, she has been into your space, she now comes up to the front desk, and a lot of us, we're working with brands already that are established that have their own colors. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean you can't weave your color story into that. Mm-hmm. So taking a gift bag or a paper bag that has your product logo on it from the company, you can still put in like a piece of tissue paper mm-hmm. or a ribbon mm-hmm. that has your colors mm-hmm. and your branding on it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. And so that visual story can be in the visual display as well as making it, taking it home, right? So that they're putting the tissue paper, the ribbon, everything is rolled into your story. So people start to kind of go, that's really cool. And it's subconscious sometimes. Keep that in mind. What we do, a lot of the visual story is subconscious, right? So it's important to just make sure that it's always there, and consistency is really key.
Mm-hmm. And I think you're bang on about including retail into this visual story, because I think, especially for the smaller businesses, I think, most of the people that follow me are either micro salons and spas like solos, or they are, under 10 staff members. And still that's still considered a very small business.
Right.
And so also depending on what their business model is, they may or may not want to have their own branded products. So, I mean, the natural way to go with what you're talking about is to have your own branded products or private labeling.
Yes.
It's called. Yep. But I think for the most part, most salons and spas are buying product or selling product that's like Dermalogica or Eminence or Kiyun or Joico, that kind of stuff. And so, because it's not our own brand, it's easy to not include our branding with that.
Exactly. Yeah. So I have little stickers that I've made, and I put those on every bag that goes out the door.
Okay.
And if you're giving to somebody new, a new client, make sure you put a brochure, a business card that goes in there as well. Mm-hmm. Maybe a postcard that's got your colors on it to invite them back into your space again.
Yeah.
So it's about making sure you're giving them a reason to take home the gift, because really when somebody spends, we know that, the real estate that skincare products can take in a bag is not very much, but they're paying top dollars for that, right? So when a client buys a moisturizer for $80 or $100, we need to gift it to them in a bag that represents the value that they're taking home.
Yeah, it's making it special. It's
making it special. Absolutely.
It's not this. I guess it's like looking at that. it's not the end of the service until they literally are foot out the door.
Exactly.
When you're packaging up your retail, it's still part of the service about making them feel special. They are special. They're valued.
Yeah. And I always used to say to my staff, clients have a choice, and we have to be the better choice always, right? And the up that we have, I think, as estheticians and spa owners, is we can provide levels of service that the big box stores just don't have the capacity to do.
Absolutely.
We have a relationship with our clients too that big box stores don't have the same that we do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we definitely have, way more knowledge than over the counter.
Yeah.
Or even just buying online. I mean, tons of people buy online. So I think, and I hear this in Facebook groups a lot with, in esthetician Facebook groups, the complaint that, I can buy, the client will see it on the shelf, but, the client says, I can buy that on eBay or whatever, can buy it online for cheaper. And so instead of kind of getting up in arms about that, it's up to us to make sure that we are really providing them a lot of education, a lot of value that the other places can't.
Yeah, for sure. And, doing things like, client nights, like an important client night, VIP nights, invite your clients. And, you're not necessarily always going to have a huge turnout, but nurture the clients that you do have. I mean, in the state that I'm in with my business, I only work 2 days a week. I'm seeing maybe 3 or 4 clients a day. Like, I'm not seeing a lot of clients anymore, but the clients that you have, it's the quality over quantity. And I really believe that that's where so many small businesses are not thinking about the fact that it's not about how many clients you have. It's always about the quality of clients that you have, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the same that goes with, when people are, spa owners are talking about, advertising,
Exactly.
it's, you don't want everybody.
And you have to decide what your brand is, like, who are you? And don't be afraid to stand in that brand, right? So, if you choose to cater to a higher end clientele, then, honor that.
Yeah.
Because that's the decision you've made, but you've got to then deliver that at every level of your client experience, right?
Yeah. It's basically, you got to have both feet in, like you got to be all in, make a stand about who you want as your ideal client, and then just go for it.
Exactly. Right. So for sure.
So how would, one of the, you have such great points about retail sales, and really it's about up-leveling the professionalism. And what I'm also hearing you say is, look at these other brands that are doing this really successfully.
Exactly.
We can model this. It's not, you don't have to have a bazillion dollars of rebranding budget. You can take what you see working with other industries even.
Big time.
Yeah.
So, I think it's about modeling. And I always encourage people to go out to the stores, go to the big department stores. I mean, in Vancouver, we just had a Nordstrom's open up, and that's where I'm heading this afternoon. I'm going downtown today to check out what they're doing. How are they doing? And it is really important to think outside the box, because that's what makes you stand out, As an example, something else that you could do, in the line that I carry, GM Colan, we have vitamin C and a vitamin C treatment. Well, if you've got the space, even if you've got a small space, create a display that sends that story. If you're promoting the vitamin C story, show that is what you're doing. Have the visuals on the little table, have a little poster. And we had actually done a beautiful display with like multiple clear glass containers and vases filled with mandarins, and like real mandarins. And it was really cool. And then we would actually, when clients were coming for the treatment, we would actually allow them to open up a mandarin and eat it. So take the story all the way through. And it's so exciting to do that. It doesn't take much to do that. Well, it's so visually impactful, right?
The other thing that you could add to that is using an aromatherapy diffuser with orange blossom. With what is it? Is it
orange essential oil? Orange blossom.
It's orange blossom. It starts with P. I can't remember what it's called, but it's just, it smells like you're walking through an orchard of flower blossoms. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, you layer up all those senses: the touch, taste, smell, sound.
Exactly.
So another part, so we've talked about kind of branding and including a visual story in with your retail area. And so it's really about focusing, what you put your attention to grows.
Right.
And so I think the other big part of retail that's frustrating for spa owners is when they have a staff and they have team. And, you hear it all the time. I remember, coming up in the industry, hearing it, you need to sell more retail, you need to sell more retail.
Yes.
It's frustrating on both ends. It's frustrating for the owner because they know that this is a way to keep the doors open and to flourish. But yet, as estheticians and hairstylists, nail techs, that's not usually the first reason why we got into this industry. We got in it to give the service. And so there's sometimes this tension and conflict between spa owners and staff when it comes to retail sales. And I guess it really, we've talked about this before, it really boils down to motivation. Yeah. Because we don't, as human beings, we need to be, we have to have some sort of intrinsic motivation to do something. If it's not kind of doing anything for me, why would I do it? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about how you would motivate your staff when it comes to retail.
This is never an easy subject ever. You're so right. It can be a source of tension for spa owners and staff. But I have to say, something that I did when I had my big spa was really established from the word get-go. Even when I did the interview, I always asked about retail sales. I asked about how they felt about it, how important it was in the past, experiences that they'd had working anywhere else, how well they felt that they did as in retail. And I always asked them why they felt retail was important. Now, if you've already I mean, really, it's true. And I say to my clients, and I used to say to my staff, what I provide and recommend to you is to continue to support you in what I did in my studio. Mm-hmm. So you can take that home, right? So many times we feel that when we're selling or we're recommending is we're pushing the product on the client. But keep in mind, if you don't sell it to them, they're buying it elsewhere. Yeah. Don't kid yourself that they're not buying it. And even when somebody says, I can't afford that, you know what? You have to adjust. You have to know who your client is. And it doesn't mean they have to take home 5 products today, right? They can take home, prioritize the 2 products that is the most important for them. Mm-hmm. But, going back to motivating your staff, it's so important to have the conversation with them. Put the expectations there. And say to them, this is really a huge part of our business. Mm-hmm. First of all, you've got to engage your staff. You have to look at them as your tribe. Mm-hmm. They are your first customers. If you don't have that engagement from your staff, you have no business. Yeah. Like we know, even if there's only 2 or 3 of us in a business and we all are providing a service to the clients, no matter what we're doing, we each contribute to the success or not of this business. Mm-hmm. And when my staff would say, "Taz, I need to make more money," I would say, great, then you know what, let's work on supporting you to build and better understand retail sales, because that is an unlimited paycheck for you and a way to increase your business and a way to keep this business in business as well. Mm-hmm. So I always say, engage your staff first. They have to buy into what you've got. Do they understand the brands that you carry? Mm-hmm. Do they love what you carry? Do they feel like they can talk about it? I mean, those are really core principles. We're at a perfect time of the year right now. We're at the tail end of one year and starting 2016, we're thinking about that already. We should be anyway if we're not. You know what? Put that into place. If that means that's something new you have to start, have the conversation with your staff in the very beginning of the year and say, you know what? We have not focused on retail, but this year we are going to focus on it. And the reason for that is because we all need to make a better paycheck, including you. I want to be able to give a percentage of that to you, right? And there's different ways to scale commissions for staff. And commission, again, sounds like a negative word, but it really isn't a negative word. It's just remember that if you don't sell it to them, they're going to buy it elsewhere. They're going to find another alternative outside. Why not offer it to them?
Well, I was talking to a salon owner here in Victoria, BC, and he owns multiple locations, and he also he's an Aveda Concept salon, and he also owns an Aveda store, just retail store in one of the malls. Right. And I can't remember what he said the exact numbers were, but the conversation went about by the salon that had was doing the services. They also had a retail space. Their retail sales, it had to do with something about, he was comparing the sales for the salon to just the store in the mall. Right. And there was a fairly high percentage that weren't buying it at the salon, but they would go and buy it at the other retail store.
crazy.
So yeah, it's an insane amount of money that we as professionals are losing out on.
Totally.
Um, because they either go shop for it elsewhere, or online, like in person or online. But I think too, as far as motivation, and as far as like commissions and stuff like that, I know that there's also salons and spas that are um, compensating their retail sales in different ways, not money. They're
Yeah.
compensating it with an education budget.
Yes.
They're compensating it for things that matter to the employees, because sometimes
Exactly.
money isn't really.
I agree.
Yeah.
It could be the newest product that maybe the staff wants to try, right? There's different I mean, you can do contests. We used to do, not necessarily every single month, but we would do like a seasonal contest and run something really big. Plan it. You need to really plan for these things, 6 weeks ahead at least. You need to know what it is that you're doing. You need to engage your staff. They need to be educated, and they
Absolutely.
need to be delivering that day to day, day to day, day to day, and then have something in the staff room that shows where people are at, right?
Absolutely.
Where is the
You've got
team?
to measure. You've
You've got to measure.
measure.
Got to measure it, right? And
Yeah.
then when you measure it, people are like, "Oh my God, we're only 3 away from getting to our target." Like, how awesome is that? Okay, great. Everybody work really hard in the next 2 days. We can totally do 3, right? So you almost have to have that constant conversation with your staff,
Mhm.
keeping them. And remember, when you have a budget, let's just say you want to sell $3,000 this month. That sounds like a lot. And yeah, maybe it is. But if you chunk it down,
Mhm.
break it down, how many days a week is this person working in this month? And then it breaks down to like maybe $25 or $35 a day.
Nothing.
That's not a lot,
No, no.
right?
Yeah, I love reverse engineering numbers like that,
Totally. Yeah.
because a $3,000 in retail for maybe two estheticians
It's,
seems like a lot, but when you reverse engineer it and it's to daily,
yeah.
like I can do that. That's no problem.
Totally, exactly, right? So you've got to break it down for them. It's really important that you just have them understand not to freak out when you set a target. And if you don't meet the target, that's okay. But you wouldn't have even got that far if you didn't each have that target to even reach.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, motivating staff in the spa is a huge topic, but when it comes to retail,
yeah.
you've made some really, really great points.
Thank you. I mean, you could do gift cards from a local Starbucks. Maybe you could do a dinner out with the whole team if they reach the target. One year when we did that vitamin C promotion, my gift to them was if we made it, I was going to take them all out in a limo for dinner. I mean, that's pretty big, but we had a big target, right? So I said, okay, if we reach that target, that's what we're going to do. And you know what? It was so exciting. Like it pushes people because it gives them something to look forward to that's different in their day. And it allows them to feel inspired because they're watching others and they're going, okay, well, if she can do it, I can do it too, right? It becomes a healthy competition. You never want it to be an aggressive environment where it's an artificial push. But when you're excited about something and it's the right season to promote it, why would you not want to do that, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you have an upcoming event in Vancouver.
I
Tell
do,
us about
yeah. Sure, I'm super excited. This is going to be a 2-hour interactive workshop. I really believe that interaction is how we all continue to learn. When you sit in a lecture hall and you just listen, I don't think we learn as much. But when we have a conversation, exactly, everyone wants to fall asleep, exactly. But if it's interactive, I think that's what makes it really powerful. So we're going to do this 2-hour workshop. It's a business workshop that we're going to do. It's going to be an opportunity to exchange ideas and an opportunity to actually, network with other industry professionals. You can learn the secrets of creating packages that give your clients great value, but you're not really giving a massive amount of burden to deliver those treatments. Creating a visual story, I'm going to definitely talk a little bit more about that, and understanding the power of retail sales. Creating promotions that delight and entice your clients to buy, but to have them come back in your slow time, which is January, February, right?
Yeah.
Ways to engage your staff, of course. That's, we just finished talking about that. So the date of the class is Monday, November the 5th, and it's from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Sorry, I think your Wi-Fi just cut out just a little bit. It's Monday, November 20th.
Monday, November the 30th.
30th, okay.
Yeah. From 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Okay.
And it's at Nova 2 Beauty in Burnaby.
Yeah.
And the investment is $48 a person.
Yep.
And, people always ask me, well, who should come? Like anybody who's in retail sales, especially spa owners, solo practitioners, even people in the wellness industry, they're selling things. they can better learn. I honestly believe with a $49 investment in your business, you would walk away and make that back in the first couple of
That's $49 is
It's
nothing.
nothing. It's totally nothing. And I want to make it affordable for people to come, because as much as this is, a business that I'm starting and really working towards doing more and more, I want to be able to share. And that's my biggest thing, is to share. And I think that's been such a problem in our industry, is we're not willing to share. But if we do share, I really believe we'll become way more powerful.
Absolutely.
So
you're preaching to the choir. I totally
I know.
Yeah.
And so if they want more information, they can certainly connect with me on Facebook.
Yeah.
So Tazeem Jamal is my name on Facebook. I can send them the link to this. I've got like a poster that I've printed out or that I've created.
So how do people register? Do they register through you?
Yeah, they can register through me directly. Even though I'm hosting it at Nova 2 Beauty, I am actually doing all of that myself. So they can connect with me. My email is skindulgence@hotmail.com.
Okay.
Or they can connect with me on Facebook. And my phone number is 778-908-3532.
Okay, so a lot of people that follow me are not local, but so we're talking about in the Vancouver area, Vancouver, BC, and Canada area. So if you have a salon or spa in the Lower Mainland or Vancouver, Tazeem will be hosting this on November 30th. It's really exciting. I'm really happy for you, and for those of us that have been in the business for as long as we have, I really feel like we have a responsibility to help the estheticians and spa professionals know what's real out there, and not you're as real as it gets, Tazeem, and you're not going to blow smoke up anybody. It's just like this is what works, and this is what it's like out here.
That's an important part of it. I think clients always say to me, "I'm so grateful that you recommended that product. My skin is so much better." And what does that do? It creates loyalty. Absolutely. And that's where you get the referrals as well. Right?
Absolutely. It's all about building trust. It's nurturing relationships. And this is just another way of doing it, is through your retail sales. So.
And I always say to people who talk about retail sales and they get scared, I say to them, sell is not a 4-letter word.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how I think we often look at it. But really, it's so empowering to see clients come back and tell you how much better their skin is, or how great their color still looks after, almost a month.
Yeah.
So no matter what level you're at in the industry, I really believe that the retail sales can make a real big impact in your business and take the stress off, right? So,
absolutely. And I think a lot of times it's just a reframe that estheticians and spa professionals need.
Yep, absolutely.
It's a reframe from that, what they think is the dirty word.
Yep.
It's not icky, gross selling. I think one of the pivotal points in my career for retail sales was when I decided that really this was about educating my clients, and I was doing them a disservice if I was not giving them a skincare prescription or telling them when I wanted them back. I'm not doing my job.
No. And when you come from a place of passion and real authenticity, people can see that. Even if they can't afford to buy it today, don't think about making a one-time sale. I want a client for a long time.
Yeah, I want you and I to be connected for years and years and years.
Exactly. Right. So for sure. Well, thank you so very much for your time. I'm very grateful.
You're very welcome. So if anybody wants any more information, they could connect with Tazeem on Facebook or through her email. Yep. And thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a fabulous day.
Okay. You too.
Bye.